All right, everybody. Fresh takes on a Monday this week. We'll explain in a quick minute. But fresh edition, fresh takes. Super Wildcard Weekend still going on, but who cares? We're here. Paul Russo across from me, as always. Man, myth, legend himself, Nick Felice. Nick, how you doing? How are you surviving Winter Storm Izzy?
It was
so
good.
Far.
Your screen was frozen there for a second, but we're good now.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, it was a good storm. I always look forward to these storms. Not really, just kidding. But yeah, I don't mind the cold. I just don't like the snow, and
Right.
yeah, it lived up to the hype. I think. I don't know why the plows aren't out there right now, but I ain't
Nick,
a
I'm
plow
going to leave
guy.
the camera on you for a quick second. My camera feed is still frozen up, so I'm going to restart the camera. But you continue, talking.
Yeah, I thought you were frozen. Yeah, it's been a good weekend. Cowboys got beat. I'm sure we're gonna talk about that. Shout out Hideki Matsuyama, big win in Hawaii. Novak Djokovic got deported. What else is there?
My camera's still frozen.
Okay.
I'll work on that really quickly. You keep talking if you got anything for the folks. As I'm still on mute. We're all over the place.
Halfway through January, everyone doesn't like January in this part of the world.
Right.
It's the longest month. It's cold. It's dark. But we're halfway there. It's a hump month. So, yeah, Winter Storm Izzy. Why are we naming winter storms as well? I don't know. Are we naming tornadoes? Can anyone confirm that we are naming tornadoes?
I believe with tornadoes, they just kind of listed as their ranking on the Fujita scale.
I don't know. I have only heard of a weight scale. Haven't heard of that scale yet. I actually have heard of the Scoville scale as well. It's still snowing. I thought it was supposed to stop around 9 o'clock. It is 9:15. I thought the snow would have stopped by now. But
right. So I'm gonna go to side by side quick. As you can see, my picture is frozen. I'm not
Can
too
we
sure
hear you?
What's going on with the camera? Yes, you can hear me. That I can confirm. So Nick, I'm gonna toss it to you again here. Just continue rambling as well. I adjust one camera to bring it over to here.
Well, okay. Let's look up the score of the Cardinals game. It's 14-0 Rams. Rams have the ball back. They're on the 50-yard line. I'm going to spoil you a little bit. We were going to talk NFL today, and I'm just going to jump right into it a little bit. And 14-0 Rams. Maybe a little surprised by that result to start, but, Kyler Murray, they haven't been playing too well other than that big win over the Cowboys, obviously. The great Dallas Cowboys. But Dallas, they came down to earth yesterday. Niners could have won that game about 4 to 10 times before they finally did win it. It was a great game. This whole first round's been pretty cool. I am enjoying the Monday night game. That's pretty cool. I hope they stick with that. It's better than having a 1 o'clock Saturday game. And other than that, it's been really actually a pretty boring round. I mean, there was a lot of games that weren't very exciting. How we doing on the camera?
Well, it's going to be a bad angle. I'll preview it for people here. But you know what? We're going to be doing this.
At least we can see you moving.
Yeah, so this will be the lone, probably last double shot as we show the topics here. But Super Wildcard Weekend and Baseball Hall of Fame coming up next week. We'll obviously be live after the fact, so we'll discuss who we think should be in, who we would hypothetically vote for if we had a vote, and maybe talk about the process of it and how it's probably time to move on to something different.
All right, Paul, don't move now.
I see what you did there.
You're really. I mean, I'm glad you're paying attention to the computer.
Thank you. I'm. Hey, every now and then stuff happens.
That is a live shot. I mean, that is what you're wearing today. They just took that photo.
Here's the true live shot. Well, I clicked on to see. It's what happens when you're used to going to camera one. You click on the camera one inadvertently there. So
yeah.
Super Wildcard Weekend. Okay, so Wacky so far. Let's start with the Bills. We'll start with the positive, especially around here. Bills blow out the Patriots. Maybe officially bury those demons. I don't know, but maybe the matchup coming up with the Chiefs isn't exactly what you hope for. But kudos to Josh Allen leading the Bills into victory. Kudos to, in my mind, Leslie Frazier. Really great defensive game plan by him. You couldn't have asked probably for a better game if you're a Bills fan, in all honesty. So what were your, I guess, initial reactions to that? Because I know you were leading Patriots there, and I know when we get to prediction time, I know which way you're going to be leaning there, even though, it's whatever. But, what were your initial thoughts with the Bills game first? We'll start on a positive note before we go into the chaos that was pretty much every other game to a degree.
My initial thought is I'm surprised by the result. I will say that. Obviously, the Patriots, you got to remember, they do have a rookie quarterback. Give me about 3 or 4 years, and they'll beat them in the same situation. The only problem with the Bills, they got a tough stretch now. They got to go to Kansas City, which is a tough second-round game. Definitely surprised by the result. That's for sure. Especially the way they played them last time, only threw the ball 3 times or whatever it was. But, it's a tough place to play. Don't know if Bills Mafia is the best fans. I mean, there's definitely Cowboy fans. I mean, come on. There's some good shots of those Cowboy fans yesterday. So I'll admit it was a surprise result on my end, but doesn't change my opinion of the Bills. I am happy that I will be able to watch the Super Bowl. It won't be Cowboys-Bills, so will we get one of them? We'll see if the Bills can keep it going. I think the Patriots are just young. Offensively, not the best. Don't have the best weapons on the wide receiver end.
True.
Josh Allen's the real deal. I don't think he has the best weapons. I just think he's the better quarterback than Mac Jones right now. So, and obviously they played a perfect game. I mean, they have 7 drives, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, they had in terms of that, they had a perfect game. Yeah,
the complete opposite of the Steelers' offense yesterday.
Right. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So I mean, to sum it up, I am shocked by the result.
Thought I turned my phone on silent. I apologize.
I am shocked by the result.
Chains over here. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go back to now. We'll go back in reverse, partially. So obviously, unfortunately for the Bengals Raiders game, this has now turned into the ref gate. Obviously, for the most part, and I say that because you have ACC basketball official, for example, Ted Valentine, who loves making the TV games about him. Refs don't like being the storyline, but we do have a playoff game where this is the case. Surprisingly, it's a crew that is crew chiefed by Jerome Boger, who usually is one of the better head officials and referees in the NFL. I think they mentioned that there was only 2 other members of the crew that were technically his, but either way, it's a playoff crew. In the long run, what probably would have been a deciding touchdown taken away to Vegas. It's a tough scenario here because now there's going to be a lot of maybe unwarranted scrutiny now the rest of the way for the playoffs when you do usually get, like any sport where you usually do get your A and A plus officials out on the field. Yeah, what were your thoughts on that? Because obviously now it's kind of dictated the storyline of that game. I know now it's kind of shifted to where now everybody's focusing on the Bengals and their matchup against Tennessee. So
I actually can't input. I did not see this game. I don't even know what happened because all I heard was
overall the game was not the best officiated game overall in the first place. It was going both ways. I guess in that sense, and I take this from the especially from now the coaching aspect of things. Maybe in this sense it's a little bit more obvious with baseball. Just for instance with the strike zone, I could really care less where your zone is as long as you're consistent both ways. I don't have a problem with you being bad as long as you're consistently bad for.
Did it cost the Raiders the game?
I know it came down to the end. The touchdown going into halftime, yeah. Non-touchdown going into halftime, yeah. I mean that is not what everybody's kind of pointing at as the difference maker in the game. Now it's tough because one call might have sealed the deal on a couple different people's futures. What's interesting is the Raiders fired Mayock today. They're now former GM, but that probably was happening anyway. The way this season kind of played out for them. But I don't think that was so much the case. But you have the interim head coach Rich Basicia. I think I'm pronouncing the name wrong. I apologize, my Italian brother. He coached his way into consideration for keeping the head coaching job, or at the very least considerations elsewhere. Who knows what his true future is now with Vegas? Derek Carr, what's his true future in Vegas now? Unfortunately, there's a lot of questions now surrounding specifically the Raiders. Obviously, the Bengals have their path for the future, as long as everything kind of hold the peace, injury wise. But now the Raiders have, now there is questions down the line for the Raiders' future because of the way this game played out.
Yeah, I just remember hearing that they lost at the very end. Raiders, like I said last week, there's definitely a good chance they can make a movie off this Raiders season. It was that special with everything that went on with the team, and the fact that they got the 5 seed and made the playoffs and almost won a playoff game is pretty impressive. So, the Bengals are good. It's going to be a very interesting game when they play the Titans next week. Just how good are the Bengals? They are on the right side of the bracket, I would say, of the AFC, playing the Titans, who are, not a lot, really respected number 1 seed right now. And then the Raiders, back to the drawing board. Any one of these 6 teams that lose this round, it was nice that you made the playoffs, but it's over like that, just like that. And I think the Raiders, they got to figure out, internally first, with the head coach and the GM, but the players are there. They got a good team. And I think it's a great job. It's one of the best openings, and who knows? Maybe they already have their coach.
When was the last time we said the Raiders was a good opening?
Not since I've been a sports fan or live.
True. Let's go into another topsy-turvy game. Not so much, obviously, Bucs-Eagles. That kind of was on the tamer side of things.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
That one happened?
Yeah. But the Cowboys and 49ers, the 49ers borderline choking it away, and then Dak's play there at the end, really especially, just absolutely wild. I don't think I've really seen an ending like that. Don't know on what planet you really take off and run anyway in the first place in that scenario. I understand how maybe some people thought, it could have been a right play of sort. But if that's the case, you can't go up the middle. You have to get to the sideline under any and all circumstances, or go down sooner. Take 10 yards and make sure you are able to clock it. And that's the other thing too. I wish people, what the ref did, the ref did his job. The ref has to spot the ball.
Yeah, you can't just place the ball wherever you want.
You can't do what the Cowboys were going to do. The Cowboys were going to snap it right away, which, it would have been blown dead, and then the game's over anyway, like it would have been. So I just wish people kind of understood that rule and that aspect, and probably the overall general sloppiness of what was the end of that game in the first place. Just the way the 49ers, like I said, they did their best to lose that game at the final couple drives, in my opinion, and the Cowboys, specifically Dak, and it's unfortunate because Dak really did have a good year. I think probably proved some of the haters wrong on some of the aspects of his game. But now you're going to have really a big portion of it blown up right back in his face. I mean, people will point to his IQ again and be like, well, would you want a quarterback who's just going to take off and run with it at the end of the game with no time left on the clock effectively? It's a tough call and scenario that I do not envy one bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he had to go up the middle because they had the sidelines guarded, and that's what they wanted him to do, and it worked out for him. But like you said, the Niners, they could have gave away this game many a times. It started with, I have to say, the Garoppolo interception, and then there was the not realizing they were going to fake punt at that situation. And then there was the Deebo Samuel first down reversed.
Right.
Then there was, right after that, was the false start on the QB sneak that could have ended the game. And then the prevent was terrible. And then the Cowboys blew it. And I don't know how, you look at the play, and then people are saying Dalton Schultz had no idea what was going on. Were they going to run a play? Were they spiking it? It was just, it's like they never practiced that. And as a professional center didn't even know. You got to know every single time the ref's got to touch the ball.
Right.
And it's like, that's just.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much you necessarily pin that aspect on the center, because, if I'm the center, I'm probably going to do the same thing in that scenario. It's just kind of just rush it as quick as I can.
And you said that what should happen. Dak should have went down earlier.
Right.
He should have went down earlier. You got to know how much time's left on the clock. And, yeah, I mean, that's part of the game. I mean, you really should not blame the ref at all. He's doing his job. And, then there was a situation where they gave the Cowboys more seconds. I didn't understand that.
Well, yeah, I know they did that at one point there at the end of the first half.
I'm just watching SportsCenter all that today, and it's all about how the Cowboys lost. Nothing about how the Niners won the game, and that's just ridiculous and not right. The Niners won this game. Deebo Samuel showed up. Jimmy G showed up. She showed up until he, almost gave the game away, but. Yeah, it's one of those games. It's not shocking the Cowboys lost. They weren't playing a bench. They weren't playing some team's bench, some team scrubs that makes Dak Prescott look better than he is. The problem with the Cowboys, they're talented everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere but quarterback, in my opinion. I don't think you're ever going to win a Super Bowl
I don't want to be
with Dak Prescott.
Don't want to be that guy, Nick, but as a fan of a team that's been in a situation where we've let the average quarterback walk, you don't want to do that at the end of the day.
What are your thoughts on Dak? Is he a Super Bowl champion?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I've been a big Dak guy since college.
Or do you think it's a Cowboys curse?
I think I don't know if I'd call it a curse. I like curse the Bambino situation.
They're the first team ever to go to 11 straight playoffs and never make a conference title game.
I mean, I'll say this. Jerry's not as involved in meddling anymore.
Yeah.
I think that helps. I don't know. They're going to be at crossroads with a couple players like Zeke this offseason. I think the workload's finally really caught up to him. I think they're going to really need to work on that secondary. It's very boom or bust. I mean, Tay Diggs, look, the amount of interceptions he had was obviously enormous, but the amount of touchdowns he gave up was also pretty big. He had some interesting splits in there as well.
He gives up a lot of yards.
That part's interesting in my mind.
Impressive that Stephon Diggs made it to the game.
Right. Well, I mean, look, the Kelce's, their mom made it to both Tampa Bay and Kansas City for Jason with the Eagles.
Wow,
and,
that's even more impressive.
Yeah, so, how about that?
That's more impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so, spoiler alert for everybody, we have the Rams up 21-0 over the Cards, which is disheartening for some of us.
Oh, it is?
Here.
I just looked at it. It was 14-0.
Yep. So, let's move into predictions because we got that. We're gonna go just because of the nature of this. I
got one thing to ask you.
Go ahead.
Before we
go ahead.
7 seeds, 0-4. Will they ever win a playoff game, and when will it happen?
I see we're doing the 16 seed discussion in the
They're
NCAA.
pretty bad, these 7 seeds.
Eventually. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this expanded playoff. I mean, I think... I mean, football inherently is just obviously freaking reckless in nature. I mean, it just takes a toll on your body, and... I mean, I'm sure if they keep the 17 playoff, yeah, somebody's going to win one eventually. Yeah, I mean,
they've been pretty bad.
That's the way it is. It's a one-game sample size.
When you think of this,
football's a one-game sample size.
When you think of the 4 7 seeds right now, you have Phil Rivers and Big Ben, who are the last games of their career,
right?
And then Chicago with Trubisky,
yeah.
And an Eagles team. I don't even know how made it. But
well, I mean, in all honesty, really, that Eagles team should have been probably a little bit better in that game. I was kind of surprised the way that they more or less rolled over. I mean, say what you want about Trubisky last year. I mean, he pretty much kept the Bears in it. So
now he's going for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean the mentor missile. Shout out Cleveland.
Frank
Ohio.
Wright was
shout out Cleveland, Ohio.
Frank Wright was Jim Kelly's backup.
All right, folks, we're going to go to Frozen Me as me and Nick make our picks for quickly about as time as possible.
Oh, he looks really in thought.
I know, I am in thought. Bengals at Titans, Saturday at 4:30.
Bengals at Titans.
Derrick Henry will be in uniform.
As much as I want to see the Bengals win, I think the Titans are out to prove something.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Titans, yeah.
Really? You seem like you're still looking at the computer.
Well, I am. I mean, normally anyway, I'm kind of looking at the computer anyway.
Yeah, you are.
The other Saturday game, 49ers at the Packers.
49ers at the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Packers because the Niners are, hurting.
Let me adjust your volume for a quick second. 49ers.
Whoa. Why? I gotta hear this. I gotta say, it's not my why, but why?
Call the hunch. Aaron Rodgers. At the end of the day, talk about how great it is to be having home field at Green Bay in the freezing cold. Yeah. Guess what? When it comes into a run game situation because you can't throw the ball because it's frozen, I'd rather have the 49ers situation than the Packers. The 49ers have more versatility in their run game, and, in my mind, their defense is better. 49ers. Upset.
I like it.
I'm going for it. Damn the Torpedoes.
Are you going to the Super Bowl?
Damn the Torpedoes. I don't know. As of this moment, we will treat it as the Rams are at Tampa Bay Sunday afternoon.
Let's do it.
Either way, I'm going Tampa Bay.
I'm going Rams. Why? I was a little delayed on my why. I was going Rams in this one because I think...
you don't know what Rams team you're going to get.
I think Matthew Stafford's out to prove something this year, and I just don't think the Bucs are winning it this year. I think the Rams could get them.
You don't know what Rams team you're going to get. You just don't.
No.
Bills at the Chiefs, Sunday prime time-ish game at 6:30.
Going Chiefs. Let's hear it, Paul. Why the Bills are going to win?
God. My mind's telling me Chiefs.
But your body.
But my heart. My heart is honestly telling me Buffalo, man.
We'll tell it no.
Gosh. I'm going to do it. The Bills are going to beat the Chiefs on Sunday night. Well, the Bills make me want to shout. Oh, God, that made me cringe.
You think they can go into Nashville?
Why not? If they beat the Chiefs, yeah. I'm going Bills. I am going Bills.
Any chance they host Cincinnati?
It's possible, right? You never know.
All right.
All right, Nick. That wraps up that. Let's move on to our baseball talk. Obviously, the final of the last two
So when do they
topics.
announce it?
Yeah, so they will be announcing this next Tuesday before we would be on with the podcast. So this is why we're going to do this portion of the discussion now. This might be the most maybe overall controversial ballot of our lifetimes, just for the fact that we have like Bonds and Clemens and Schilling in the last year. Mm-hmm. You have A-Rod on the ballot. You have David Ortiz on the ballot. You have a lot of people. They're picking really strange lines, and this is maybe one of my bigger beefs as a whole with the Hall of Fame. So, I've said now for I don't know how long, if this were the Hall of good intention and good people, the Hall would be very empty compared to what it is. There are rapists in the Hall of Fame. There are murderers in the Hall of Fame. There are racists in the Hall of Fame. Like, there are no like Klan members in the Hall of Fame. Known rapists in the Hall of Fame. General, terrible people, like in terms of just being, nice or not nice. Which is why I always go back to it's the Hall of Fame. It's what you did on the field. I don't have a problem with the whole entire, I forget what we call it, purity clause or righteousness clause, whatever. I don't have a problem with it, but you can't be pick and choose with it, which is where a lot of the voters are, which is the main problem for me. I mean, the voting system is extremely flawed at this point. You have people who turn in blank ballots. To me, really overall, if you're a Hall of Famer or not, I guess in one essence, for me, when I do, the fake ballot, which, I'll share my fake ballot, who I would put in here in a few minutes. For me, I tend to go 10 every year. I think there's always at minimum 10 on the ballot that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame each year. Do I agree with every single person that gets in the Hall of Fame that has been voted in? No. Like, I do not understand why Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame. Well, I do understand. It's the on-the-field stuff I don't understand. I don't understand how Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame, but Dave Parker is not. Dave Parker, for me, is the most glaring omission in the Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame, unfortunately, through these committees now, have a tendency to wait too long to get these people in. Unfortunately, I don't know how much longer a guy like Dave Parker is going to be with us. He has been battling Parkinson's now for a number of years, and it's only been getting worse for him. We unfortunately did not get Dick Allen into the Hall of Fame, and he has passed, and I don't know when I think it's 3 years or something, like on the veterans cycle, but he should be in the Hall of Fame, and he's not. I'm very happy we are going to be able to get a guy like Tony Oliva and Jim Cott into the Hall of Fame, albeit probably not when they deserve to be going on in first. They'll be going in through the Veterans Committee. I'm very happy that they are still with us in order to get that opportunity. The Hall of Fame is nothing more in my mind, and it pains me to say this because I love going to Cooperstown. It's one of my favorite trips I usually make once every 1 to 2 years. It's nothing more than just a museum at this point. That's just the way it is. If you're going to have displays and exhibits on Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson, but not allow them to just have that stupid metal plaque in your hallway because they did something allegedly in Shoeless Joe's case and, for sure true in Pete's case that obviously you weren't allowed to do, but, now you're profiting off of, gambling and sports betting. Come on. It's just... It's frustrating. And then you have a guy, go back to Dave Parker, who the only reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame is because he's the poster child of really what was the Pittsburgh cocaine pirates, but really the MLB cocaine issue. I mean, look, Tim Raines, his nickname is The Rock. He's in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, great player. At the same time, he was playing against Rickey Henderson. He was probably the NL version of Rickey Henderson, a little bit, not as good, obviously, as Rickey, but look, he was the NL version of him. And he got the nickname Rock in part because he was a steady player, but also in part of because he had cocaine in his back pocket every game. I mean, come on. I'm pretty sure the Rock nickname is on his Hall of Fame plaque. I mean, there are more, and I'm not saying like, look, the drug thing for me in that realm, it's a completely different discussion compared to like steroids and whatever. But right there's a prime example of a guy who, in theory, probably shouldn't be there if you're pouring this morality clause into the wind, right? Like one of the few guys I can just imagine being in the Hall of Fame still would be a guy like Willie Stargell, just as an example, right? I mean, like I don't think you'll find somebody out here finding one bad thing about Willie. I'm sure there probably is, but that's just the way people are now. Okay, I should probably get off my soapbox for a minute. But it's just frustrating, especially as a baseball fan. Maybe it's just everything kind of going on in baseball. Like, we had, admittedly, a fantastic year of growth for baseball. The way the season played out, it could not have gone any better. I mean, new faces, young faces, faces that kids love, right? Whether it's Freddie Freeman, or you look at Freddie Freeman's kid who loves Fernando Tatis Jr., and Tatis Jr. who loves Shohei Ohtani, and Ohtani who loves a guy like a veteran like Albert Pujols, who in turn loves the youth movement that's going on across the league, which just ignites the fan bases everywhere. Like, this was a fun year. It's just tough because we're in the lockout, and now I'm just going kind of, like I said, I think it's just a lot of this is kind of build up for me at this point. But the Hall of Fame stuff, it's just bugged me for so long now. It's driven me up a wall.
Well, this is the big one.
Yeah.
Because this last year of Bonds and Clemens.
Yeah.
That's not the Veterans Committee, but I don't know. I don't think either one are going to get in, Paul.
Mm.
And Curt Schilling's obviously not going to get in either. And who's up? Who's the main guy up for it this year?
So
who's the new people? I should say.
I'll pull the ballot up. I'll leave it on you.
It's
I just want to be sure I got this right. Okay, your new candidates this year are Carl Crawford, Prince Fielder, Ryan Howard, Tim Lincecum, Justin Morneau, Joe Nathan, David Ortiz, Jonathan Papelbon, Jake Peavy, AJ Pierzynski, Jimmy Rollins, Mark Teixeira.
I know this is a hot take, but I personally think Tim Lincecum is a Hall of Famer, and he's got 3 World Series rings. He's got 2 no-hitters.
I know where your logic is based on.
He's got 2 strikeout, 2 Cy Youngs, 2 strikeout leaders. He's done some great stuff. It was only a short amount of time, but he did it. He was an awesome pitcher, and at that time, Paul, for those 4 years it was, he was the best pitcher in the game.
Right.
Maybe behind Roy Halladay or whoever it was.
And this is where it's tough in my mind on the ballot, because you're only allowed to vote for 10, whereas I think in the other leagues you're allowed to just kind of vote for how many people you think deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So I'll just say my 10 right now that I would put in if I had
Let me hear it.
That I would vote: Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Todd Helton, Andrew Jones, David Ortiz.
Oh, David Ortiz, yeah.
Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez, Curt Schilling, Gary Sheffield, and Billy Wagner. Those are the 10. On this list, I would also probably put in, if I had more votes, and this is where, again, this goes back to it being extremely flawed system.
Why 10 votes?
Because that's what they decided in 1936. Also, if I had more votes, this is also who I would go with: Tim Hudson, Torrey Hunter, Andy Pettit. I'd also go Scott Rowland. I would also go Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy Rollins is an interesting case, especially on the defensive side. Sammy Sosa and Mark Teixeira.
They're all great players.
Yes.
I think
you talked about, I don't mean to interrupt, but you talked about Tim Lincecum. I mean, you think about Jake Peavy's peak, especially early on from like 04 to like 08.
He was great.
Just ridiculous stuff.
He was great.
He was just pinned out on some very just awful Padres teams. Teams that, talk about the Padres, who on paper were supposed to be really good, but just never came out to be.
American League, National League, he was literally the National League Felix Hernandez.
Yeah.
Same kind of ballpark, great pitcher,
Pinned on some awful teams.
And terrible teams.
Yeah.
And It's a lot of great players, and I think it's like you got to play 10 years. And
I don't know if it's 10 years. I think it's like some weird percentage now. But yeah, roundabout it's 10 years.
To be on the ballot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think A.J. Burnett was last year. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2015, 2020, 2021, whatever. Maybe 2 years ago. But okay. Anyway, yeah, David Ortiz is definitely going to make it. And which is kind of, took Edgar Martinez all those years as a DH.
Well, again, this goes back to a point, though, as well for me that, like, you hold Bonds and Clemens and these other guys to these steroid standards, yet you let a guy like David Ortiz, and in the past, you let a guy pretty much like Bagwell and Piazza just go with ease. And I don't want to be, look, I mean, you can say what you want, but freaking Piazza had the worst back acne of all time. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. I always look forward to it. I remember the 1 year. I think it's happened a couple times now where no one made it.
It's happened 3 times in the past 50 years, and 2 of them have been within the past decade.
Yeah.
2013 and last year, I think.
Because you got to get 75%.
Yes.
And you say there's people who aren't even putting in empty ballots.
Yeah, there's been, I think, 3 empty ballots so far this year.
Really? I just don't think they have enough Clemens and Bonds. What do you think?
I think they're going to get in. I think
really this time.
I think the writers have played that we're going to make you wait out the longest to put you through hell type thing, which is, I mean, that's just frankly BS in my opinion. I mean,
to wait 10 years.
Yeah, and this is like the thing that kind of goes on again in my head with the process. Like, I don't think a fan vote's going to solve this. I don't think leaving it the way it is will solve it, but I think you got to have like some sort of system where the guys that played, against these guys or something, have them have a say.
It's just
I mean, I don't want to, like, you can say what you want about NASCAR, whether or not, like, I don't care. Like, NASCAR to me is a sport, they're athletes, but NASCAR's Hall of Fame process, you have, I think it's like 50 media members and like 50 like indie industry people who have been around and like whatever. And literally what they do with that, they literally throw 100 people into this conference room and let them talk it out for a day. They sit out for a night, they come back, discuss for half a day, and then they vote. And that's how they determine the 2 or 3 drivers each year they get in. And frankly, I think maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know if you cap it right at maybe 2 people, but that's probably the way to do it. But you're never going to get that. You have too many of these writers now at this point. And I don't mean to disparage some of these people, but you have people who have the vote in the BBWAA that, like, they don't even like write anymore. They've been long retired. Like, they haven't been in the club. They probably weren't even in the clubhouse with David Ortiz most of his career. Yeah. Like, you have those type of people who are the ones holding the key votes. And that, to me, is asinine.
It's just crazy. Major League Baseball doesn't have the all-time hit leader and the all-time home run leader in its Hall of Fame.
And its all-time average, or second all-time average.
That Pete Rose, so.
Show.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, like hits and home runs. That's the game. That's the whole point of hitting in baseball. And they don't have the 2 best guys who did that. Obviously, one cheated and one did something that was frowned upon. And
right.
I don't know if Barry Bonds should be in the I would vote him in. But Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. That is absolutely insane that he's not. He didn't cheat. Did he? He betted on himself too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with it? Come on.
I mean, that's where I have a problem with like the gambling thing now. Is like MLB's so deep in the pockets of DraftKings that like it's just such a, like I said, it's asinine the way that they're still thinking about this. It just is. But
yeah.
I mean, it's such a. It's like I said. I think with me right now, it's a lot of this factors colliding together, both Hall of Fame, it just in the present day itself with the lockout and everything. That, I mean, I can't imagine, especially in today's day and age, a 12-year-old looking at all of this and being like, yeah, the MLB seems like the sport I want to aspire to be in.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to say, I mean, I think at this point, still the NBA's probably got that foothold still. I think it's a little bit of a toss-up between them and maybe the NFL.
How much longer on this lockout, you think?
I told you. I mean, I told you we would be in jeopardy probably. Yeah, it's looking like it. We're looking like we're at minimum we're pushing spring training.
So in lockout,
we're for sure pushing spring training.
So these
back.
guys can't go to spring training warm up.
They can't even go to like their own facilities right now. They can't.
What about minor league facilities?
Nope. They can't go there.
But the minor league players can.
If you're not on the 40. Yep. Talk about, again, the MLB having an outdated rule that helps them in the long run with the antitrust clause.
That just sucks.
Yeah. It's like I said, this is, again, it's just baseball enjoys shooting itself in the foot. It just does.
I think the season's going to be delayed.
Oh, it's going to be.
I think they might come up with a deal like in March, but they're going to need time.
Well, yeah, but spring training at that point, again, like I said, spring training is going to be pushed back at minimum. I'm telling you, we're probably looking at, I think at maximum we're looking at a 120-game season. At maximum.
Do you think it's going to be a layout on a future proposal of 120-game season going forward?
No, I hope not.
Yeah, I like the 162.
I think they should either do 154 or 148.
I like 162.
I'd be fine with 162, but you have to throw in double headers.
If you go 154, I want best of 7 divisional series.
No, I'm with you there. But I think if you keep a 162, I think do something that really gets the fans back in the ballgame. Make it worth their while. Do double headers. Like, make it so when...
Schedule a double header.
Make it so, hypothetically, when we, for instance, go to Pittsburgh, on Saturday, we have a game at 1 and a game at 7:30, and you have like 3 hours in between where we're going to have like live music on the field or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, make a day out of it.
Mm-hmm. I doubt it.
Well, no, it won't happen. I'm just saying, though, like, that's the pipe dream for fans never actually happens.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to get too far down the line fully here, but until they agree to lower the cap and establish a spending floor, nothing will ever change in the MLB. Nothing. I've said now for I think the past 2 seasons, and I hate using them as the true example, but they're the easiest to go to because me and you can have the discussion on it fully. But I've been in love with this Pirates offense for the past 2 seasons. The youth that they have in it's so great. Their pitching hasn't come along like people had hoped, but they still got some arms in the minors that should get there soon. But their owner, Bob Nutting, just does not give a shit.
Oh. I appreciate you saying that. Thank
you.
But
think about it. Like, he just cares about the margin though at the end of the day. Like, if you're going into a sports team to operate it as a business, like, you're not doing yourself any favors, man. Like, that's why you look at the successful owners, they don't meddle, for one, and they don't turn a profit, for the most part. And look, Kansas City has made it work. They're trying to make it work again. I give the ownership group in Kansas City credit because they may not spend like the Yankees and Dodgers, but they'll pony up for, the second level tier player like a Lorenzo Cain, even though maybe not the best example, but like a Lorenzo Cain. And they'll put a competitive product on the field and a clearly, team that's competent enough to make playoff runs. And they're trying to do it again, and I give them credit.
Got a good manager.
Yeah. Well, that key parts in that help too, right? I mean, and I am a big fan of Shelton in Pittsburgh as an example again. I don't know if he's going to be the right man for the job once they clear that next threshold, but he's the right man for right now.
Do managers manage the game?
I think it depends what team you're on.
Aaron Boone?
No.
You're all cash was managing the game.
Yep.
Now it's your brother who thinks Boone's still managing the team, right?
Well, it's not just Pat. There's a consistency of Yankee fans I don't think fully realize that Boone's not in control. He is the middleman in this situation. Like he's in a no-win situation. Like if you were to go against an order that he gets from the front office, he's fired. He's without a job, right? But he follows every move here, and he's just the worst thing since, Black Monday or whatever. So, I don't know. No, it's a no-win situation. Mm-hmm. All right. I think that pretty much takes us to the end for today.
Go Barry Bonds.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Heads up for everybody. F1 radio broadcasts for basketball this week. Tomorrow night, 7:30, myself and Kyle French. Miners Academy, Wayne Boys. Big FL East matchup there. We're all in the FL East this week.
Hopefully the road's clear.
Yes, Wednesday, Ted Baker. Might be me. I'm still trying to figure out the full situation there. But Palmac at Penyan girls, so a good matchup there in the Finger Lakes East for girls at 7:30, and then Thursday, Newark and Palmac boys. Ted Baker on the call with that. So, nice loaded week of good basketball on FL1 radio. That one's at Palmac.
Are you video with Palmac?
No, not for that one. No. But that one for sure will be patching our audio into the video stream at Palmac. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh yeah, for sure there. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Nick, who are you shouting out this week? Who you got?
Oh, I got a triple shout out.
Whoa!
Yeah, get you jumping. Oh, triple birthdays these next 3 days.
Oh, snaps.
Shout out to my Aunt Molly Murphy. Today's her birthday. Shout out to my cousin-in-law, Charlie Barbie. Tomorrow is his birthday. And shout out to my Aunt Nancy Marino. Her birthday's on Wednesday. Shout out to my aunts and my cousin-in-law. Shout out.
Happy birthday, fams. Hope your birthday's bussin'.
Go Cardinals.
All right. Thanks, Nick. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Help us, help FL1, help us keep doing what we're doing. A lot of fun stuff hopefully coming up the pipeline. We will catch you next week, more than likely back on Tuesday.